Hi, welcome to this video. So on March 20th at 6:42 p.m. Pacific time, there is a full moon in Libra happening. And this full moon occurs right after the sun moves into Aries. So they're both at 0 degrees when the full moon occurs. And the sun is also conjunct Chiron in Aries. And the moon will also be inconjunct Uranus in Taurus, as Uranus in Taurus is semi-sextile to Sun and Chiron. So at this time, we are fully aware of the wounds that we have incurred, and this is a time for being the teacher, the healer, and sharing what you have learned through the wounds that you have incurred. And especially with this, being opposite the moon in Libra, this is all about being in a one-on-one situation with another person, and especially being able to share your deepest emotions with another person. And with the inconjunction to Uranus, the moon inconjunct Uranus, this is a time for bringing forward higher ideals and higher values and sharing those things with someone. Of course, you want to be sure not to push your ideas on another person, and you may even bring forward shocking ideas to some. But ultimately, it can be a positive thing in order to bring awareness to something that perhaps someone was not aware of before. And with it semi-sextile, the Sun and Chiron, it's like trying to meet someone in the middle, perhaps, because the way I see semi-sextiles in some ways is because they're this sign right next to each other. You kind of have to meet someone at a point where you find common ground about a subject that maybe you have strong values around or strong ideals around. And then Mars is sextile the North Node, Mars in Taurus and the North Node in Cancer, and they are both inconjunct Jupiter in Sagittarius. So right now, the strength and vigilance that we feel about our values is going to be coming forward in a very strong way, and our conviction about what it is we value is really, it's got that boost of Mars energy, that strength and conviction that Mars has, and of course Taurus is very strong within its values. So right now it's like we're coming into this sense of what it is we value. And then also with the North Node in Cancer, it's like we're really tuning into our true north and where our emotions are and what makes us feel most emotionally secure. And then with them both inconjunct Jupiter, it's like we can channel that conviction and that certainty about what it is we value into a philosophy or into your practice, into possibly a dogma of sorts, but it could also be towards politics or creating more expansion in the world. So taking the values and your true north feelings and really putting them into something that you truly believe in and that you wish to instill a philosophy into the world around. And then Mars in Aquarius is Venus in Aquarius at 23 degrees is square Mars in Taurus at 23 degrees. So with squares, they can be both challenging yet also extremely creative, and the whole goal of a square is to integrate the two less than perfectly, it's like trying to marry two different forces that are maybe at odds with each other. So Venus in Aquarius is a very humanitarian combination, and it's very focused on equality for all and peace and love and harmony in the community. And then Mars in Taurus is a bit more focused on its security, its money, its values, and what it stands for. So if we can make a positive marriage between those two principles, then it can be used for positive purposes. But of course, it's about trying to get people to cooperate, because sometimes, you know, if somebody is being too stubborn, for instance, with Mars and Taurus, or, you know, Venus and Aquarius, because they're both big signs, you know, it's just going to be a matter of getting people to cooperate and to find common ground as well in where you're trying to, you know, make things happen. Maybe surrounding ideals or something that you have strong values around. And then we've got Mercury retrograde at 18 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Neptune at 16 degrees of Pisces, and they are sextile Saturn at 19 degrees of Capricorn, and conjunct, which is conjunct Saturn conjunct Pluto. So Pluto's at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So with Mercury conjunct Neptune and Mercury retrograde in Pisces, this is bound to cause some amount of confusion, and miscommunication could definitely occur. But it's also very intuitive, very inwardly focused, and very much like in its unconscious mind, in its dreams, in its feelings, and in its intuition and sensitivities. So right now it's like we are going in within ourselves in order to bring forward a vision and bring that vision into the systems and structures that are in place. Of course, with this combination, it could also mean, especially with Saturn conjunct Pluto, Saturn conjunct Pluto is not the most positive thing in the world. It's definitely bringing about totalitarianism into the forefront right now. And Mercury conjunct Neptune is bringing about deception. But this is also an opportunity for us to envision what sort of changes we need to see in the systems that are going on, the transformation that needs to occur within the systems. And so we are able to bring forward these visions and start to integrate these ideas into these systems at this time. So when this sort of thing happens, it's like there's two different roads we can go down. And this is like, you know, having a disease of the system happening. And when you can be the healer of that system, then it can be used for positive and, you know, for loving and, you know, goodness, you know, the goodness in the world. If we are complacent and we bury our heads in the sand, then that's when totalitarianism can take hold. So right now is a time to be extremely vigilant and to pay attention to what's happening within the systems that are you know, happening right now. And just to bring forward our highest visions and to be like as, you know, like vigilant as possible is really the way I see it. And then of course Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node are all conjunct. As I said, Saturn's at 19 degrees, Pluto's at 22 degrees, and then the South Node's at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So the South Node is there helping us to become aware of the problem so that we can find the solution to the problem. The South Node is what we're moving away from. And with Pluto, of course, it is about power. It is it's hungry for power. Saturn can also be like really, you know, strict and strong and like bears down its, you know, restrictive energies. And then the South Node is like, oh, what is all this stuff? We need to do something about this stuff. Is kind of the way I see it. I mean, it brings awareness to that stuff so that we can really move towards the North Node, which is finding our true north, finding our emotional center, and finding that sort of boundary, the security, the nurturing energy, the feminine energy, the mother energy, and really like coming at this not from a fighting sort of stance, because then that's just going to create butting heads, but finding a way to kind of find its way in and nurture the disruptive energy that is taking place. And yeah, like tuning into that divine feminine energy so that it's not just creating more discord. And then all of those things are trine Mars and Taurus. So, and of course with Mars and Taurus, it's about standing strong in what it is you value and not backing down and being very solid. Not being like the ram, not being like an Aries about it, but being like a Taurus about it, being the bull, standing strong, being an earth sign about it, being at peace and solid within your stance, and not letting anybody bother you. Like, you know, I imagine like a bull and like a little, like, you know, I don't know, bug or something trying to bother it, and the bull's just like, you know, like, oh, you think you can bother me? No, that's what I imagine. And then the last aspect of this day is Venus at 23 degrees, sextile Jupiter at 23 degrees. So Venus in Aquarius and Jupiter in Sagittarius. So ultimately, this is about bringing forward this sense of expansion, equality, harmony, being in touch with our ideals, being in touch with what it is we believe in, and having faith that ultimately humanity is good and that we have goodness on our side, that there are positive forces, and that we are ultimately not bad. Humans are not bad. There is evil among us, but humans are not bad, and that we can ultimately tune in with that goodness within us and bring forward the strongest ideals that we have, the strongest ideals that humanity has, and be strong within those values and those ideals and those beliefs, and bring that into the world. So stay in tune with the most loving and positive parts of your soul, and stay vigilant. Do not bury your head in the sand, but maintain the strength of your own heart. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I appreciate it. Have an awesome time.